As we're all aware, uh, some allegations were posted on a prominent pole vaulter Facebook page in with a membership of over 93,000 people reading it, in which the wife of the former Olympic and world champion Renaud Lavillenie, his wife Anais Lavillenie, made unsubstantiated allegations that Obiena is doped, and it's because he has the same coach, the same plan, the same everything, and he's going to fail and going to be caught. That linkage was obviously to the news that Mr. Thiago Braz had been found of failing one of his first A sample with WADA, or the World Anti-Doping Agency, back in July. What many people fail to recognize is that Mr. Braz had stopped training with Mr. Obiena and Mr. Petrov in 2022. So he had been out of the camp for a year, and when he was failing this drug test. So there was no linkage. He wasn't even involved at the time. So this set of suppositions of Miss Lavillenie was completely unfounded and represents significant reputational risk to both Mr. Obiena and to Mr. Petrov, and is completely, as I've said, irresponsible and a reckless behavior that is simply has no basis in fact. Now, beyond the point that EJ will deny this and say, I haven't failed any drug tests, we're going to give you today irrefutable evidence on everything that he has never doped in his entire life. And so let me get started. I'm going to share with you some data here that we will also put in the email to you with the press release, as well as we're going to share with you the actual polygraph report. So let me get started. Now, the World Anti-Doping Agency has a website that EJ can access and look at his results. We have requested from the World Anti-Doping Agency to share an actual screenshot of his results. We have not received the permission to do that. So what we can only do is share with you what the results show. Now, under World Anti-Doping Agency rules, they only disclose to the public when people fail a drug test or when they have a positive test for a banned substance. Now, there's been no public release ever on folks. Folks, can you please mute on the other side? Thank you. Now, they have never done any type of release on EJ on anything whatsoever, which is already the indication that he has never failed a drug test. But here are the data points for all of you. He has had a total of 34 doping control tests since he turned professional and has been under the auspices of the Athletics Integrity Unit and the World Anti-Doping Agency. How many times has he had a positive test for a banned substance? 0. He has never tested positive for any banned substance from any of the blood tests or urine tests that have been conducted by the World Anti-Doping Agency. If we turn to this last 12 months, this year, 2023, he's had 11 doping control tests just in this year. And there will be more because we're only in October. So it's probably going to end up with a few more. He has had 11 doping control tests executed in 2023. How many of those have been positive for banned substances? 0. He has never tested positive for any banned substance whatsoever under World Anti-Doping Agency testing. That's data point 1. Now, data point number 2, you can go and Google and you can go and do searches. There will be statements made by people, prominent people involved in anti-doping efforts, that will say, just because you pass a blood test or a urinalysis doesn't mean you're not doped. Maybe you're just able to time yourself perfectly and consume lots of water and dilute, and you can do things to pass the test even if you're doping. Or maybe you're using like the Balco case back in the US, 10, 15 years ago, you're using a new substance that they're not testing for yet. I mean, this is a continual game of doping, trying to stay ahead of the doping control, and progress being made on both sides. There are people that say we need to have more stringent testing to really see if people are doping. the former world record holder in the marathon, Miss Paula Radcliffe from the United Kingdom. She has publicly advocated for lie detector testing on athletes to supplement the blood work and to supplement the urinalysis that's being done by WADA. And she is saying that if you do the blood work and the urinalysis and you add in lie detection, we will get a much better read on clean athletes. Now, EJ, because he's innocent, he has no problem. He has volunteered immediately to take and conduct lie detector testing. Now, what I'm going to do is call up. We obviously then used a certified polygraph examiner, certified in the United States, to do all of these tests. And I'm going to turn this over to Miss Hester Duplessis, who will take this chair and explain to you the two tests that have been done on EJ and what the results were. Let me share also a screen at the same time. Just give me one moment to change to the next projection. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Duplessis. You will see her now on screen. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hester Duplessis. I am a certified polygraph examiner and also eye detect proctor. I did my training in 2004 at the Academy of Scientific Forensic Investigative Agencies and also at Converis. We administered two separate tests on Mr. Obiena. And the first test was the polygraph examination, which is an old system that has been in the world for many decades at this stage. We have solely focused on the use of doping and also a lot of relating offences that could go with doping, because we are focusing on the objective, and that is to verify whether Mr. Obiena was doping or not, as the allegations was said. The first test was a standard polygraph test where we formulate relevant questions, going with a control questions where we measure the physiological changes of the person. We end up scoring the test at the end, which will give us a result. At the end of the test of Mr. Obiena, it was determined that there was no deception indicated on any of the relevant questions asked dealing with doping. Then the second test we did was an eye detect test, which is the first automated credibility technology that we have for detecting whether a person is dishonest or truthful when conducting a test. Due to the test being given on a computer and being scored through an algorithm, it gives the examinee the, how can I put it, all the test is consistent with one another. And it is also unbiased. There's no bias in it because we conduct the test through a computer. The test is uploaded onto the system. It's scored on an algorithm, which is then sent to Converis, which is based in the United States. After the test is conducted, we will receive a report after the scoring was done on the algorithm. And then we will have the result, as you could see in front of you, the eye detect report. So on this eye detect report, you could see that we focused on two high topics. The one was a doping in the past 8 years, and the other one was match fixing. You could see that his test was credible on an 80 and a 99%, which means he passed the test. So in other words, all the questions that was asked relating to doping, he was credible on and was not lying to those specific questions, as the same as in the polygraph. Okay, so there is no way in the eye detect that anyone can influence the result, because the human factor is removed from this result completely, because he sits in front of a computer, he will answer questions. I am the proctor, I take him through the test and I upload the test on the system. However, the scoring and the result, as you see on the document in front of you, is not done by me. It is done by Converus itself. The formulation of the test questions was also done by Converus, and it was also uploaded on the system. So the result you see in front was completely handled by Converus itself in United States of America. If you compare the polygraph and the result of the eye detect, at the end, the conclusion would be that the accuracy on whether Mr. Obiena used performance enhancement drugs is zero. He passed both his tests. So there's no way that anyone could influence the result of the fact that he passed his test. It's my professional opinion that he was truthful throughout all his examinations, and that Mr. Obiena is not doping, and the time frame is in the past 8 years. Thank you.
The big news is no athlete ever has done both a polygraph and an eye detect. And the combination of both polygraph and eye detect together is a 99% accuracy rate. EJ Obiena is a clean athlete. It is proven, and the statements made by Anais Lavillenie are completely unfounded, and there's no data. And we, in fact, we're so sure of ourselves that we're prepared to pay the cost for her to take these same exams, polygraph and eye detect, to really understand what was the motivations and why did she do this? Why did she level baseless claims against an innocent person and an innocent coach? And we're more than happy to bear the cost of that, as a matter of fact. During the course of this press con, I've received several messages, including amazing supporters for EJ Obiena, who have been with him through thick and thin and through all of the difficult situations that he's had to endure. Certainly the president of the POC, Mr. Bambo Tolentino, Senator Pia Cayetano, Mr. Terry Capistrano of Patafa. These are just some of the few amazing supporters that EJ has that we're very thankful for, and EJ is very thankful for.